Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's stream. We are here with, oh, that's no good. Let's not have me listening to myself. There we go. We are here, trying out something a little bit different. I am working on building a character for Vampire the Masquerade, a campaign I have never had any experience with before, a whole new tabletop RPG format and system and experience, but I'm very excited to give it a whirl, and I figured, well, since I am just like any other good PC player and waiting until absolutely the last minute before session 0 to actually get my character sheet put together, that maybe I'd, sit down here, have some company, and maybe have y'all along for the ride as I stumble through and try to figure out how to fill out a character sheet for a system I've never played. So, figured we could have some fun with that there. I see we got a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of people in the chat. Hey everyone! Whole bunch of Vampire fans here, so excellent. We're all in for a good time, hopefully. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get ourselves into Vampire the Masquerade. So for those of you who have not had a chance to actually see this yet, if you look up above right here, I have my Hero Forge mini, very helpfully designed by my wife and my combined efforts. She has a great eye and was able to help me really bring to life Luca, who is going to be my Toreador bloodline vampire, who somehow, inexplicably, wound up becoming a bard. Yeah, go ahead and get the giggles out now. I promised to no effort was I trying to actually make a bard character, and yet somehow, the more I developed him and the more I put him together, he surely ended up becoming a bard. Yeah, no, I kid you not. I was not intending on creating a bard character, but there we are. By the way, once more, welcome TF Guy 44, otherwise known as Thomas, our resident moderator, who will be helping, keeping an eye on chat and keeping y'all behaving, even though this is a campaign where people tend not to behave. But in either case, let's go ahead and break down, just like I didn't mean to make mine angsty. Oh man, yep. See, when you make a vampire character, you tend to bring out some sides of yourself that you don't quite expect. Lo and behold, who would have known that I would be bringing a bard out of myself? Who would have ever guessed? Have we been misbehaving? Oh no. If anything, you need to misbehave more. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up over here. I have some references to help me navigate through trying to put together a character using this format. And it's definitely times like this that I've truly come to appreciate how spoiled I've gotten being able to use features like D&D Beyond, because having everything already calculated for you, already figured out for you, just plug and play. So nice, so simple. But here, we're gonna have to do everything from scratch. But fortunately, I'm gonna go ahead and look up a reference here real quick. We actually got these character sheets. This is the 5e version of Vampire the Masquerade, conveniently enough. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up right here. There actually were some folks who were kind enough to put together a fillable format of this sheet so that you could actually do some drop-down menus on everything to make things super convenient. Let's see, they're Outstar on YouTube. You can look them up. I'll go ahead and post the link here in the chat to the YouTube video to give a brief little tutorial on how to make a character in this campaign. We'll go ahead and throw that in here there. So if you have any curiosity of trying to make a character yourself, you can go ahead and utilize that link there. Great resource. I looked at it profusely before trying to go into this, and subsequently managed to forget completely everything that I learned from that video. So we're gonna go ahead and just stumble through this from scratch and see what we can make happen. So pulling up my reference points here, let's go ahead and just break this down step by step at a time. Name? Oh, well, I guess that's gonna be the hardest question of the day. Boom. Taken care of. Except I've already failed because that is where the player name goes. Goodness gracious. Let's try this again. So my vampire is gonna be named Luca. Luca is immediate fail, exactly. Actually, name is character name. Oops. So, Luca was sired in the mid 1700s. He was being raised by his parents to become essentially the next, prodigy musician. However, his career as a young prodigy never truly took off because there was, let's face it, a lot of competition at the time, namely all of the B names, So, eventually over the course of time, they, realized, all right, you know what, this kid's not going anywhere with their music career. So we're going to go ahead and try to get him to, go into something else. But music was still always a very prominent part of Luca's heart and a part of what defined him as who he was. So he was not going to be so easily swayed away from the music, even though his parents essentially gave up on him at that point. But one of the other prominent things about him is that he was not a particularly outgoing. Yeah, exactly. You got Bach, Brahms, Beethoven, etc. Let's see, Bach, Brahms, Beethoven. There's another B name in there as well, but I'm struggling to remember off the top of my head which one there is. But anyways, in either case, he was kind of, shy. He wasn't a particularly outgoing individual. He was, in fact, if anything, I think the proper term to refer to someone of his type would be a bit of a dweeb, if you can relate to the 1700s equivalent of a dweeb. However, in pursuing his music, he did end up creating a bit of a small following over the course of time. Just small little fan base. But without giving too much away, we'll give a brief little introduction to Luca's sire. Oh yeah, you're gonna definitely be older than Luca. But give a brief little insight to Luca's sire. Sort of a androgynous individual. I don't know that we've ever actually gendered them to any degree, but essentially, they have aptly earned the nickname the Curator. They are known as, Belrook, who's here in chat, Terran. Terran's character, Odette, and Luca actually share a little bit of history together. So they actually, do you mind if I share this, Terran, or is this something you want to keep hush-hush until we actually get into our session 0? Just in terms of how they're both connected. I can go for it, great. So Terran and, Terran's character, Odette, and Luca actually share the same sire, albeit several centuries apart. While Luca was sired in the 1700s, Odette was sired roughly about 7 years ago, but their shared sire is known as the Curator. The reason they have earned that nickname is because they have a tendency to follow along with whatever their particular obsession or fancy happens to be at that particular given time. And they have a tendency to be rather fleeting. They will obsess over someone, want to add them to their collection, and then once they're bored, slough them away like they're nothing. Which is how Luca came to be. Luca became the Curator's most recent obsession, and eventually ended up luring Luca into their web and into their bliss. They were actually Luca's first intimate experience, which, suffice to say what that does to one's mentality when one's first intimate experience turns you into a member of the undead. But that's neither here nor there. In either case, this certainly did help to shape Luca into the person they would eventually become. Becoming sired, or as they refer to in this campaign, receiving the embrace. Can you say trust issues? Receiving the embrace brought out every single one of Luca's deepest and most carnal desires. Luca is developed over time incredibly outgoing and completely driven by waves of passion. In fact, passion is probably one of the biggest elements that draws him in. And that can take many different forms. It can be the passion of a beautiful symphony. It can be the passion of a display of power, of a majestic way of killing. It could be anything as simple as, you know, it could be sex, it can be power, it can be food, it can be wine. It's a million different things that just anything that can just translate to him into passion is musical splendor to him. His greatest obsession is to, in fact, turn this obsession into his music to become his eventual masterpiece symphony. So that's a brief little insight into Luca. Suffice it to say, Luca is easily entranced. Very little is taken in a coy way with him. And that is not restrictive to any one type of wine, if you catch my understanding. For those of you who've seen Schitt's Creek. In either case, the way that I imagine Luca to be is some combined semblances of, if you want to give it an idea of kind of the blends of characters that I imagine when I imagine Luca, some small hints of Alucard, some small hints of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, some hints of Klaus from Umbrella Academy. On top of, there was one other one that I thought as well that came to mind that really jumped out as kind of an identifying characteristic of this character. Precisely, Luca enjoys the wine and not the label. In fact, if anything, Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. So just kind of that obsessive personality. But also just, yeah. Luca is a wino, indeed. But that's a brief little insight into Luca. So taking all of that energy and taking all those ideas together and turning them into how this is going to form into a character sheet. This is going to be the interesting part. So let me go ahead and pull up, I have the book over here, so I can try to remember how on earth I'm supposed to do this. This is a huge book too. I mean, this book is over 400 pages. Okay, so I guess we can go down the list and start with the concept. So concept, twisted musician. Correct. Hisoka is the, yes, the one with the interesting makeup of the orange hair. Yes, correct. Sire is the curator. Ambition, to complete his master work. Clan. Now in this, there are different bloodlines that have different traits that associate with them. To put it simply, it only makes sense for Luca and his obsession with passion and his hedonistic ways, so to speak, that he would belong to Clan Toreador. Toreador is the clan of artists, of curators, of musicians, of there's even, I think includes even sex workers. It can also include hedonists and just all various different types of just artists, beauty and passion and all that combined. So it only makes sense for him to be of Toreador. And generation, for this campaign that we're doing, we're all going to be 13th generation bloodline, which essentially means that we are 13 generations down from the original vampire. Bacchanal, exactly. I can definitely imagine Luca having a bit of a Bacchus inspiration. And another one that's going to be interesting is the Predator style. Was it 12? It was my understanding that it was 13. In either case, we'll have to revisit that at some point. That'll be an easy one to fix. So Predator. Predator is the way in which one feeds. There are a bunch of different ways that one can do that. Let's go ahead and just pop this up and see it down the list. Let's see, what do we have here? We have Alley Cat. Alley Cat is essentially, you know, the quick hit and run sort of style of feeding. You know, they're the typical, you know, dark corner of the hallway and sneak up on you, get their fill and run and all that. There are things like the Blood Leech, which are those who feed on other kindred or other vampires, so to speak. There are things like the Consensualist, who will only feed on the willing. The Osiris, who only feeds on followers. And, you know, Sandman, those who feed on those who are sleeping, etc., etc. And there's such as the Scene Queen, who is kind of another adaptation of that as well. Yes, Odette is definitely an Osiris. Luca is a Siren. A Siren is one who feeds all the consensual options for the win. A Siren is one who feeds during sex. So it would be only during an intimate encounter that they would feed. Oh, I see you, Luca. Troublemaker Luca. Which is one of the big problems with Luca. Luca is quick to passion and yet so fleeting. Which is something that's, I'm sure, going to come up later on in terms of his offsets in here, is that he has a wave of broken hearts that he has left behind, which is totally not going to bite him in the butt at some point. Have I met Luca on Grindr? Oh my god. Oh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, Austin. Am I making Luca too much of a stereotype? Eventually, here we are. Let's see, examples of roles. I'm almost here, I think, to the actual stats part, which is, I know, the part that everyone here who has been following along to try to learn how to figure this out is going to be most interested in. So character creation summary, here we go. Odette and Luca both play with their food, to be fair. It's true. In fact, it would be rude not to play with your food. No, he's legit. The stereotypes are born out of reality, let's be honest. Fair point. So I've already made my way down this list so far. We got our core concept, we have our clan and our sire. Now we have to go down to attributes. For attributes, take one attribute at 4, 3 attributes at 3, 4 attributes at 2, and 1 attribute at 1. So now I'm going to pull up my other list here as well to get me an idea of what each attribute is. I think I have an idea of the core concept, but I want to double check just to be sure. I think further down on here I can actually get what... Oh, funny thing on here, I can't actually show it on here, I wish I could, but so one of the things that they actually encourage you to work on is a relationship chart, to be able to kind of map out what your relationship is to various other characters, to NPCs and such like that, to figure out what sort of triangles, squares, dodecahedrons, etc. that define what your relationship map looks like. It's kind of funny looking at the one in here and just sort of imagining the sort of scribble, for lack of a better way to describe it, that Luca would likely have. I haven't done one either, just because I feel like to do so would take me far too long. It would be like that's like a week-long process right there, at least, that I'm trying to imagine, just trying to put together that for him. All right, let's see here. Somewhere down this list is, here we are, summary sheet. All right, that's what I was looking for. So attributes. I feel like that maybe begin in session 0. True, exactly. In session 0, that'll be when we start working out the mapping system of what that's going to look like, because otherwise it's just going to be too complicated. So, attributes: charisma, charm, magnetism, strength of personality, social. Well, I think we already know what our first, 4 is going to have to be. I've only got 7 years to map, so I'm good. Yeah, right? Yeah, see, you've got 7 years to figure out. We got to figure out, I can math. Over 200, like 250 years of Broken Hearts. Charisma, that's like bite, right? 100%. All right, so we got our 4 skill, and then we have 1 attribute at 1. So we have to figure out what our lowest stat is going to be. So let's go ahead and go down the list and figure out exactly what all these are. I do have an evil X and a rude secretary. Oh, perfect. Well, at least it's not like, what was it? Scott Pilgrim and, the League of Evil X's. That's kind of what I imagine more, Luca to have going for him. Just a list. Oh my god, 90% of your character map will be your little black book. I have an evil X and a rude secretary. Please let that be Luca. Goodness gracious. All right, so back to the list here. Let's see. So attributes: charisma. We already figured out charisma. That's going to be the 4 for sure, because let's face it, we're making kind of a bard type character. He's all about the charm. He's all about the seduction and all of that. So he's going to need charisma. Charisma's going to be important for him. Manipulation: getting others to do what you want. So I can picture Luca in some situations being kind of a sugar baby in a way. So maybe that might be something we can consider. Well, let's keep that in the back of our head as a possibility for something. Composure: self-control, cool, calm head. Social: maybe. That's kind of a maybe one. He's got to have good stamina with this one too, that's for sure. Stamina's gonna have to be a thing. Let's see. Strength: exertion of force of the muscles. I'm gonna say that's probably gonna be like a 2-1. That's probably not gonna be as important, so we'll get back to that one. Dexterity: agility, grace, hand-eye coordination. Okay, I'm gonna say that dexterity is probably going to have to be to a certain degree important, because he's a musician. He needs to be able to handle the strings, handle the keys, handle whatever it is. You need to have some ability to move to be able to do that. He's going to need to be bendy. So I'm going to say that dexterity is probably going to be high up on the list. Oh, well, hello there, April. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Handle the X's. Oh man, yes, true story. All right. So stamina, yep, we already said stamina. Toughness, resilience, endurance, physical. That's going to be, to a certain degree, important. Intelligence: memory, reasoning, and intellect. Mental. Kind of, but I'm going to say that's going to be almost a lower priority. Wits. Oh, he's going to need wits. Cleverness, intuition, spur of the moment decision making. Yeah, we're going to have to give Luca some wits. Resolve: focus, concentration, and attention. Okay. I think I have an idea of how we're going to do this. I think intelligence is going to be his 1, because he doesn't always think things through. He's very spur of the moment thinking. He's not a let's think this entire thing through sort of thing. So we're going to have charisma be his high stat. We're going to have intelligence be his low stat. So now with those placed, let's go ahead and figure out what else we have. We have 3 attributes at 3 and 4 attributes at 2. So 3 at 3. Let's figure out what our 3 high ones are going to be. So I think we said dexterity is probably going to be a high one. Composure. Maybe not composure. Yeah, actually, you know what? I take it back. Maybe composure. Yeah, I agree. Wits. Gotta be the wits. So we have dexterity and wits. Stamina. Gotta last long. Which makes me almost wonder, should we do the focus on stamina instead of dexterity? Because maybe dexterity isn't quite as important, because we can make dexterity a 2. Because I mean, the difference between, I don't know enough about this game to know the main difference between 2 and 3, but I feel like that might almost be a 2. Let's go ahead and let's make stamina our 3. It affects your rolls. That's fair. So let's make stamina our 3, and then then we have oh, we still need one more for 3. So I think we said either manipulation or composure. Manipulation or composure. So are we more focused on him having self-control and a cool, calm head, or on him being a sugar baby? And manipulating people into doing what he wants. Self-control, why? That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Alright, so we're gonna have to put the other 3 into manipulation. Sugar baby, 100%. Alright, that means that everything else here is a 2. Composure's a 2, resolve is a 2, and strength is a 2. Great, so that gets our basic attributes taken care of. So now that we've got that, I make games hard for myself. Fair enough. So now that we've got that taken care of, we can figure out our health real quick, which is down here. So health, I love that our intelligence level is the same. Well, again, Luca's definitely a very, improvise, spur of the moment sort of thing, not a let's sit down and think this through sort of thing. So health is going to be stamina plus 3, so our stamina is 3, so 1, 2, 3, plus our stamina, 1, 2, 3. And our willpower is going to be our composure plus our resolve. So that'll be 4. 2 plus 2. All right. And that's it for attributes. So now we can go into skills. For skills, you can go either the jack of all trades, the balanced, or the specialist. I think if I remember correctly from reading, it's more worthwhile to go specialist because then you get the higher skill at 4. So I'm not entirely clear just yet on what humanity is, but I want to say that one of the main themes of Vampire the Masquerade is the constant battle between your own sense of humanity versus the monster within, and being driven by those monstrous desires and those monstrous cravings, so to speak. So I think if I understand correctly, the higher your humanity, the less likely it is that you are to basically succumb to your vampiric ways. And yeah, I think specialty probably makes the most sense regardless. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and bring up my third page here. So I'm looking at the PDF of this right now that I have on the desktop just to make it easier. I am intending on actually getting the physical book at some point in time, but for now I just have the PDF because it's easier. I literally have 3 different instances of it open right now just so that I can look between the 3 different sections that I'm trying to look at to figure all this stuff out, which is just kind of hilarious. And so the thing is that because we are 13th generation a vampire, that means that so the lower your generation, the closer you are to the original vampire, which gives you some boons and gives you also some banes as well. We are at the generation where our bloodline is diluted enough that we are closer to human, and that means that in a certain sense we don't get any bonuses from it, but we also don't get any detriments. Case in point, being out in the sun, albeit uncomfortable, is not going to be deadly to us, and things like that. That's what the term is. The term is that we are somewhat thin-blooded. Let's see. So you're just a normal goth. Pretty much. I mean, you're not far off. Alright, so got all the attributes and everything all figured out here. Here we are, professional skills. You probably did the best at what you had to earn a paycheck, certainly get the most practice at it. Your profession gives you 2 skills at 3 dots and 2 skills at 2 dots. So 2 skills at 3 dots and 2 skills at 2 dots. So let's look down here. One of the sample packages they give is Artist, which would be either Craft or Performance and Insight. When then combine that with Academics or Athletics and Awareness or Occult at 2. So I kind of like that. I think the Artist one probably makes the most sense for him. He's not just a regular goth. He's a sadness artist. Hipster goth artist to be exact. I mean, clock the outfit. You know, calls it like he sees it, right? So I think we're definitely gonna have to give him some performance. For, you know, more reasons than one. Or something like a sandwich artist at Subway. Hey, you know, but goth, you know, there's an art to food making as well. I will absolutely argue that cooking is a form of artistry. In fact, actually, I think one of our other characters in this campaign does actually have a professional chef as part of their setup, so that might entirely be a thing. Let's see, now insight's definitely important because, you know, you need to be able to know your audience. So we'll call that important as well. That'll get 3. And what else on here? Academics or Athletics? I definitely feel like Athletics would be far more of a thing for Luca over Academics. Like, he might be studied, but I don't see how that's necessarily a thing here. But let's so you're asking what the breakdown is for skills. Let's go ahead and pull this up right here. So here we are. Academics, Humanities and Liberal Arts, Book Learning. So. Animal Kin, Animal Handling and Communication. Not as much. Athletics, Running, Jumping, Climbing. Get your minds out of the gutter. Awareness. Awareness, senses, being aware of your surroundings, spotting threats. Oh, how many of each points do you get? So, for starters, we get 2 3s and 2 2s on the skills. That is what we're starting with right now. That would be moi. I mean, how self-aware artists? Yes. The only thing that I will say is it's less about being self-aware, it's more about being aware of your audience. Case in point, if you're doing a live performance, you would have the ability to read the room, to get an idea of, you know, if your performance is going well, if they're enjoying it, if they're laughing, if they're crying, etc. So I feel like that degree of awareness would be appropriate. But I digress though, we'll get back to that point. But let's just keep on going down the list here. So I did Animal Kin, nah. I did Athletics, maybe. Awareness, probably. Brawl, unarmed combat of all types. Is it? Look at that sexy beast. Welcome, Solo. I'm very much looking forward to getting a chance to play with Luca. Speaking of which, you have me for Brawl. That's fair. I am actually in the process of getting my fangs worked on right now, so I will have fangs. And I did just end up getting myself a new palette, so we'll be experimenting and seeing how I can work on some contouring and stuff like that. And also, I'm still hoping they'll arrive here in time, but my contacts are on the way, so we'll be getting some colored eyes for the look as well. So I'm looking forward to having some fun with this one. I think I have almost all the elements I need. It's just a matter of if things arrive here in time. But you know, we'll see how well that goes out. I'm really hoping it does. I'm very excited to really give this a whirl, because this is the first character that I have actually played in quite some time that is even remotely humanoid, after playing a Dragonborn, a Goblin, a Tabaxi, you know, insert every other, you know, creature out there that is incredibly hard to do without any sort of prosthetics that I have no experience in. Hey now. All right. So Brawl. Brawl. I don't really say that. I don't really see that. Says who what? I think the whole party wants to experience the whole party. Yeah, you know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's gonna be some shenanigans for sure. Craft, crafting, building, shaping. Drive, operating vehicles. Why would he need to drive? Other people, he gets other people to drive for him. Etiquette, politeness in social settings. I'll keep that in the back of my head. That's a maybe. Finance, handling, moving, and making money. Psh, I feel like Luca has absolutely no financial awareness whatsoever. Firearms, eh. Insight, determining state of mind of motives. Maybe. Intimidation, getting another person to back down. Maybe not. I think he's more likely to flirt with them than to try to scare them. Investigation, following clues, solving mysteries. Maybe. Nah, maybe not. Larceny, breaking and entering, guarding against that. Leadership, directing and inspiring others. I feel like Luca would be capable of it, but would have absolutely no interest in it. So if there's an option to make that a really small skill, maybe, but not so much. Medicine, psh. Unless drinking wine counts as medicine, I don't think he's gonna get a medicine skill. Melee, armed hand-to-hand combat. Odette never starves. Her followers need to appease her. Magic fun hall. Oh, good God, all y'all. I love you all. Magic fun hall. Melee, meh. Occult, secret lore, both real and unreal. Performance, we already got that. Persuasion, convincing others. Maybe. Politics, handling, moving, and making government. Science, nope. Stealth. Streetwise, understanding the ins and outs of the criminal and urban society. Subterfuge, tricking others into doing your will. Sugar baby. Sugar baby. Survival, remaining alive in adverse surroundings. Technology, understanding and using modern technology, computers, and online activity. Nope, you see, that is what Luca has Odette for. Odette is the one who is helping Luca to come up to speed on modern technology. Case in point with modern applications like Tinder, which apparently are a thing, and Luca had no idea that it was so easy to be able to just swipe left and swipe right. Oh my God, if I was playing, I'd make a dude who becomes president like every 70 years. That would be kind of amazing. You're going to miss stealth when Big Bad spots you. That's true. That's true. Venture. All right. So with that in mind, let's get back to our main check here. So 2 skills at 3 and 2 skills at 2. So I think definitely performance, 100% for sure. Insight, possibly. Awareness. You know what? I'm going to actually make awareness. We'll make awareness a 2. That kind of makes sense. So I think insight and performance are pretty good ones for them to have. And then athletics, maybe? I don't know. I kind of feel like I kind of want to go subterfuge instead of athletics. In fact, I almost kind of want to go that even more than insight. Maybe we go 2 on insight and 3 on subterfuge. Venture. Use play. Let's see. Can't wait for our characters to meet. Why do I feel like they will want to fight for fun? Oh, 100%. There's going to be so much fighting for fun, it's not even funny. Well, it'll be a little funny. Alright, so we got our 2 3s, we got our 2 2s. So now, the words in parentheses represent specialties, which give bonus to tests of that skill in that specific area. However, you acquire your first dot in academic science, especially in that skill, your specialties. Yeah. Alright, so for performance, I got music as my specialty in that. And for subterfuge, what would that be? Yo! Welcome, welcome, Luke. You are a 6'8", 290-pound vampire. That's definitely playtime right there. So what would be a good thing for subterfuge? Because it's manipulating people to get what you want. Or talking others into doing your will. Would that be flirtation? Would that be sex appeal? What would you call that? Eddie is live and there's not a pirate ship in sight. Has he gone mad? 100%. I've gone mad a long time ago. This is just me coming to terms with it. Yeah, I was thinking flirtation. Because it would either be flirtation or sex appeal. I just don't know exactly how you would define that, but flirtation probably makes the most sense. Because if it's about getting people to tricking others into doing my will, flirtation probably just is going to be a thing. So yeah, for subterfuge, we'll do flirtation. Of course, I'm now also putting myself into a box because this means that I have to RP this. All right. I'm not putting myself outside of my comfort zone. You're putting yourself outside your box of comfort zone. Okay. So, life event skills. What major life events shaped you? Did you serve a tour in Iraq? Did you go through an abusive relationship, win the lottery, or have kids? Did you get mugged and take up Taekwondo? Whatever it was, it taught you something. Specifically, one event taught you a skill at 3, and another one taught you a skill at 2. So I get one more skill at 3 and one more skill at 2 based off of some sort of a life event. Someone do the sexy dance now. Help, help, I've lost my comfort zone. I'm very excited for April Unhinged as well. There's going to be so much unhinged in this game, it's going to be amazing. Alright, so one more skill at 3 and one more skill at 2, based off of a life event. What sort of life event would that be? Science, investigation, medicine, occult, politics. I don't think it's any of these, really. I don't know, y'all. Based on what I have described to you of Luca so far, what would have been a good life event for him that would have given him some sort of skill? Because there's a part of me that thinks etiquette. Etiquette might be a thing. Although I feel like etiquette's gonna be this weird line for him, because on the one hand he understands etiquette, but on the other hand there's that part of him that kind of rejects it and just kind of likes to toy around with it and confuse and frustrate people. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to work exactly. Exactly, screw etiquette. Possibly streetwise, maybe. But understanding the ins and outs of criminal and urban society, you know, Join the mob for a bit, streetwise and larceny. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Hey, it's a wifey. Hello, hun. How's it going, boo? Hope you're surviving work right now. If he's hanging out with Odette, they have all the monies. Yeah, boo, work. Do we have a tech person? That's gonna be Odette. Odette is gonna be our tech person. I don't know, Taryn, did you give Odette any tech skills? I feel like being the youngest out of all of us, she would probably have the most technology skills. A wee bit, oh good. Definitely not like in real life. I mean, she has to know how to market. It's true. It's true. What have I not? Let's see. So I've got myself insight, performance, subterfuge, and awareness. You do still play on console. You know what, Utahime, at the end of the day, you know, I tend to favor PC more than console, but at the same time, I don't believe in the notion of, you know, PC superiority and all that. At the end of the day, whatever allows you to game, whatever allows you to experience the joy of gaming. If that's going to be on a PC, power to you. If that's going to be on console, power to you. If you somehow manage to figure out how to game on a Mac, power to you. Just enjoy gaming. I'm 100%, if you can find a way to do it, just enjoy gaming. Because there's so much out there and, you know, everyone deserves to enjoy it. I would say Mac is not your go-to for gaming. There are definitely games that work on Mac, but I eventually had to upgrade out of it just because I couldn't find a way to make it work. But at the same time, I will still say, if you can figure out a way to game on your Mac, power to you. Enjoy gaming. Already eliminated for a PC gamer. Fair enough. And besides, even being a console gamer, you still kick all of our asses in Dead by Daylight. So, you know, that speaks for itself right there. Alright, I'm going to say we're going to throw 2 into etiquette because he was raised in high society. I feel like he's going to have an understanding of it and know how to utilize it and to manipulate it to his will, but he's still going to turn it on his head and, you know, make people question. But now we need a 3 skill, and I'm thinking probably that 3 skill is probably going to have to be athletics. All right, so we got athletics. We've got etiquette, we've got insight, we've got performance, we've got subterfuge, and we've got awareness. Oh yeah, 100% for sure we gotta get more Dead by Daylight going at some point. I'm looking forward to the next time that we can do that. I would have tried to do it over the course of this weekend, but I'm actually taking this weekend off because this Saturday is going to be my wife and my 13-year anniversary. So taking this Saturday off to enjoy some time with her and, you know, make it be a special weekend. Sunday's your birthday? Happy early birthday, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, 13 years in the same month that we had a Friday the 13th. My gothy witchy wife would love nothing less. Love, yeah, fantastic. It's too perfect. All right, leisure skills. What did your profession pay for, or your events interrupt? Did you run a triathlon or go to EDM festivals every weekend? What do you do for kicks? What you do for kicks also teaches you things. Choose 3 leisure skills at 1 dot based on hobbies or other pastimes. So I can put 3 things at 1 dot. Kicks and tricks. So what are 3 things that he might be somewhat proficient in from hobbies? Might I once again suggest stealth? You know, it's kind of interesting because you thought specialist can afford that skill? Oh, I see here down at the bottom. There's extra skills for specialists. Yeah, we're getting to that. So one of these skills we'll throw an extra dot on at some point. So, leisure skills. What did my profession pay for, or my events interrupt? Did I run a triathlon, go to EDM festivals every weekend? What do I do for kicks? What does Luca do for kicks? Well, we already know one thing that Luca does for kicks, so yes, perhaps maybe it is that he goes to festivals or clubs or things like that, but we've already got performance, we've already got subterfuge, so what would be... Yeah, you know, you're not wrong. So, what would be a good thing for them to have with that? Maybe then we could put in there... Let's look. Go to art galleries. It's true. It's true. Larceny, breaking and entering. No, I don't think so. Stealth. Not being seen, heard, or recognized. Well, I mean, Luca... You see, here's the problem. I really don't feel like Luca would be good at hiding in a crowd, and yet at the same time, there's gotta be some circumstances where this sort of thing would be beneficial. Because maybe it is that Luca doesn't like to hide, but might need to be able to blend in sometimes. Because I feel like generally speaking, Luca would want to be loud and out. You'd need 2 stars to hide. You know, though, maybe then that's what it is. You know, I got it. I got it. Unless you can talk your way out of things. No. I've got it here. So here's what it is. I'm gonna take this off of athletics. We're gonna put 3 into etiquette and 2 into stealth. And here's why. Luca spent a lot of time when he was younger in high society, going to parties, going events, and such like that. And as such, he understands what it means to blend in with these sort of environments and to be able to hide amongst the crowd. Even though he doesn't necessarily always want to, it comes from a time when he didn't necessarily like the attention, and so he would know how to be a wallflower, how to hide in the corner. That's what it is. All right, so now we can take one of our 1 dots and put that into athletics. Because now that he's at a new point in his life, he would like to go dancing, he would like to go clubbing and all that stuff, so we'll need some athletics for that. What are some other things that we can do for that sort of thing? Maybe persuasion, but I feel like persuasion and subterfuge kind of work opposite each other to a degree and don't necessarily... I think they're kind of redundant. So I don't feel like we want to have both of them per se. So what else could we do? Medicine? How would I justify medicine? Healing injuries, diagnosing diseases. We're gonna put 1 dot in medicine because Luca knows how to treat a hangover. So, one more thing. One more thing to put 1 dot in. So, trying to think of some sort of way to protect himself. I'm going to say that one of the ways that Luca had to blend in with society as he became older and got into more modern times, walking down, you know, dark streets and stuff like that can be dangerous. And even though Luca the vampire would not be concerned about these things, in order to blend in with society and seem like he was human, he would have to give the illusion of needing to protect himself. So he would probably have to learn, he would probably have to carry protection with him. So I'm going to say that we're going to put 1 dot into firearms. Because frankly, I can't think of anything else on here that makes sense. I mean, I guess we could also put 1 dot. You know what? We could also put 1 dot into survival, maybe. Remaining alive in adverse surroundings. Occult, secret lore, both real and unreal. Actually, you know what? Occult, actually. Occult might be interesting, because I'm sure that he has had many interesting... Occult might be interesting, because he might have many interesting conversations with many interesting people, which could lead him to learning strange and obscure facts. Occult. It's gotta be occult. Losing firearms, doing occult. Because he spends a lot of his time talking to people, and in doing so, he's going to learn interesting things. You see, the only reason why I hesitate to say finance is because I feel like Luca is all about spending that coin, not about watching that coin. If anything, I feel like in his hedonistic ways, he probably has to be put in check a lot of times in terms of, you know, spending the family's finances. Alright, so coin just goes right through his fingers. See, exactly. See, again, I'm not trying to play this smart. I'm trying to play this, who the hell is this character and what sort of bad life choices would he make? Alright, so we got our 3 leisure skills. That's not all that goes through his fingers. Adette's got it covered, thank goodness. Alright, extra skills. Now go ahead and take those skills you've had your eye on this whole time. Pick one of the options below. Specialist. Take one more skill at 4 dots. If you like, you can change your professional specialty to a specialty of this skill. You cannot move a free specialty from academics, craft, performance, or science to a different skill, however. Yeah, that's fine. So we're just going to go ahead and throw 1 more dot into performance. Make that a 4. Luca is just going to be a great performer. All right. So we finally, after all that, have skills taken care of. So now you can start getting into disciplines. So let's see. Set your beliefs. What were your character's moral and ethical values? Were they a believer, a communist, a vegan? Who were the most important people in their life? These things are convictions and touchstones of a character's humanity, their moral integrity, and protection against the alien beast inside every vampire. Convictions. Convictions are a person's core values, a set of moral principles that fortifies their actions against the degeneration of the beast. Create 1 to 3 convictions central to your character. Convictions often begin with never or always. These are strong beliefs concerning something likely to come in play. Killing, love, loyalty, core ideals, political principles, and religious codes. These make good convictions fodder. The storyteller must always approve your convictions in some tropes, and all players must agree on your convictions. Think about where and how these convictions become important to you. Did your family instill them? Did you adopt them at Soborn or from a lover? Perhaps your major life event from the skills selection produced one of them. Oh my god, can I make Karl Marx as a vampire? There you go. Oh, no. You see, there is no plausible way that I can imagine in my head that Luca can simultaneously be a vegan and a hedonist at the same time. Those are two completely contradictory ideals. I want to know who wrote this. Let's see. I can actually pull that up here real quick. Hang on. Of course it doesn't actually say on the cover, so that's not helpful. Oh yes, red meat is carnal. Mark something. Here we are. Let's see. Mark Rain Hagen is the original creator. Originally released in 1991 by White Wolf Publishing. '91, true. Although we're on version 5 now, which I believe actually is fairly recent. I think version 5 came out maybe like 1 or 2 years ago. So it was reasonably recent. All right. So, convictions. Those are something I can work on later. Touchstones. Embrace and after. You know, yada 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 yada. Here's generation stuff. All right, man. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff, and I'm having. This is like information overload, just trying to go through all of this and figure out exactly how to plug this. All right, here's a lore sheet. Lore sheets are a special type of advantage that connects your character straight into the rich metaplots of Vampire. Each player may choose a lore sheet and select dots in it just like any other advantage. Beware, however, that these advantages are often different in nature and may not be appropriate for all chronicles, yada 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 yada. Build your coterie. Every player now gets 1 coterie dot. In small troops, the storyteller may give each player 2 coterie dots. Working together, the players spend these dots and any leftover advantage dots. I think this is not what I need right now. Keep on going here. Core traits. Is this what I'm looking for? I think this is it. Oh, this is the full-on descriptions of everything. Edwin Stradivarius. Goodness gracious. Welcome, Al Armor. Skipping past all the stuff. Here we are. We are currently working on building Luca Stradivarius after the famous violins. I do love it. That is pretty awesome. How are you doing on this fine afternoon? Is this for a game soon? Yes, we are doing a session 0 for this game on, I think it's going to be Wednesday morning, where we're going to get everything together for the first time. This is going to be an offline thing, so it's not something that's going to be streamed anywhere just yet, although I believe there might be a streamed game happening at some point in December. I'm not entirely sure on that, though. I'm going to have other people that I defer to on that particular thing, but the first offline session is going to be this coming Wednesday. So I'm being a good PC and getting my character sheet done at absolutely the last minute. All right, so here we are. Okay, so I think if I'm understanding correctly, the next thing I need to do is set my discipline based off of my predator type. So let's go here. Predator type. Predator type Siren. So Siren, you feed almost exclusively during or while feigning sex, and you rely on your disciplines, seduction skills, or the unquenchable appetites of others to conceal your carnivorous nature. You have mastered the art of one night stand or move through the sex club scene like a dark user. You think of yourself as a sexy beast, but in your darkest moments, you fear that you're at best a problematic lover, at worst, habitual, let's see, what's it? A former lover who escapes destruction might be your touchstone or your stalker. If so, add them to the relationship map. Maybe in life you were a pickup artist, movie producer, author, a glamorous slutty kinkster, or a virgin who intends to make up for lost time post-mortem. Hence why I thought the Siren was very appropriate for Luca. So add a specialty: persuasion seduction or subterfuge seduction. Ah, that's what it was. Seduction, not flirtation. Seduction. There we are. Subterfuge, seduction. Gain 1 dot of fortitude or presence. Ooh. Let's say presence, probably. And where would I do that? One dot of fortitude or presence. I don't see either of those anywhere. Did I skip a step? So many pages of rules. There we are. Core traits, physical attributes, yada yada yada, mental stuff. Nope, that's not it. This is a little bit too bouncy. Let's try something else. There we are. Let's see. Ah, here we are. Aspects, celerity, and presence are the attributes of the Toreador, I believe. So, is that my discipline? Yep, there's each clan has 3 disciplines listed after the brief description. So for Toreador, the degenerates seek thrills of art, romance, and cruelty amidst stagnant undeath. So their disciplines are Auspex, Celerity, and Presence. So, Auspex, Celerity, and Presence. Now we're getting somewhere. Are all character creations like this, as in this intensive and complex? Never created one before. So this is actually absolutely my first time creating a character in this particular system, so this is a learning experience for me as well. But that's kind of the whole thing with learning a new system, is that generally speaking, learning a new system is always going to be complicated. But in particular, I've definitely grown to appreciate, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, how much of an appreciation I have for tools like D&D Beyond, where you can just simply plug and play things, and it just helps do all the calculations and the figurines and such for you. Now, the thing that's interesting about this game is that this game does, because of its mechanics, seem to be less numbers oriented. Like, you do have definitely some skills where you'll have higher dice pools and things like that, but it's more of a system of successes and failures as opposed to the numbers game. But that being said, I'm still not entirely sure how everything factors in together, so it's all going to be a learning curve. But this particular character sheet that we have here was designed by a really handy source on YouTube, which I accidentally deleted the link here, but I'll go ahead and link that again in the chat later. But essentially they created a sheet that actually has all of these drop downs, which makes things a lot easier to work with. So I can just go click in here and go, oh, Auspex, and such like that. So now that we've gotten that figured out, let's actually go down the list here and figure out what all these things mean. So there's willpower, skill specialties, physical skills, yada 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 yada. So we got all these things. Specs, insight, mental skills, academics, yada 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 yada, politics, blah 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 blah, beliefs. Well, let's go ahead and read down the beliefs here and see if this is something that I shouldn't actually skip over here. So not precisely traits, as they have no numerical rating. Oh, well, if they have no numerical rating, then I probably don't need to worry about them right now. I can come back to those later. Touchstones. Each vampire begins with as many touchstones as convictions. Humans who represent what you used to value in life. Someone who represent or seem to incarnate one of your convictions. If lost, the conviction is lost as well. A touchstone must be a living human being connecting to humanity through the inhuman is at the very least going the long way around. A touchstone might be your surviving human spouse, lover, or parent, your human child, or for older vampires, a descendant of your family line. A human who looks exactly like someone you loved in life. A human you admired in life, or their descendant. A human related to someone you killed very early in your unlife. Someone you swore you didn't have to kill because you aren't a monster, not really. Someone you have come to recognize as a rare, decent person, even in your eyes. A volunteer at the animal shelter, a priest, a nurse, a social worker, a nice old lady in the neighborhood. Someone who represents something you once held dear in life and still cling to. A soldier, a baseball player, a musician or artist, clergy from your faith. Someone who guards or symbolizes or protects a thing you value. The doorman of the building you used to live in, the cop on your old beat, a crusading reporter, the single mom living in your childhood home, the caretaker who sweeps your gravesite. Touchstones provide links to and mechanical support for your humanity. So I think we've established that one of my touchstones is likely going to have to be a spurned lover. So we can go down here, backgrounds, merits, and flaws. We can go touchstone, spurned. We'll come back to that later. It's always experienced when you have, it's always easier with all game systems when you have an experienced player walk you through. It's always the most intimidating thing whenever you're trying a new game system, is figuring out exactly how to navigate it. Alright, yada 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 yada. Ambition and desire. Ambition and desire are related, but not identical. Think of ambition as a long-term goal or aspiration. If you've still breathed, a life's dream if you still dreamed or had life. By contrast, desires are more immediate, short-term wishes for revenge, satisfaction, or satisfaction through revenge. Ambition. A character's ambition keeps them acting and moving both night by night and in the chronicle. It provides motivation for the player and the story hooks for the storyteller. An ambition might be measurable in game terms. My ambition is to achieve humanity, 10, or a concrete achievement in the world of the chronicle. My ambition is to liberate Chicago from the Camarilla. An ambition is not something vague like end racism or achieve world peace, but instead focuses on something specific like bring true death. Insert notably racist elder from your chronicle here. Or end the Gehenna war in the Ukraine. If an ambition is unlikely to happen or would end the chronicle if achieved, it can still provide rich story juice. It only needs to be theoretically achievable. If a character achieves their ambition and the chronicle continues, the player should decide on a new ambition, ideally one that has emerged during play or one that follows the realization of their first ambition, left something undone or incomplete. At the end of a session, in which the character has actively worked towards their ambition, they recover 1 point of aggravated willpower damage. Desire. Desire reflects less than lifelong ambition, but more than momentary wants. Each session, a character can select a desire or keep their unfulfilled desire from previous session. Once per session, when the character definitively acts to further or accomplish their desire. So this is all character motivation, essentially. What is your overarching goal versus your immediate goal? Now, is this something you actually are supposed to write down somewhere in here? Or is that, I think this is something that you're just supposed to remember and note for yourself. So we'll come back to that later. Alright, predator types. Now we're on the part where we're supposed to be here. So Siren. Already got the specialty subterfuge seduction. Gain 1 dot of fortitude or presence. So we will add dot in presence and gain the looks merit. Beautiful. So give ourselves beautiful for 2 dots. Yeah, presence for sure. I think presence makes the most sense. And gain the enemy flaw, a spurned lover or a jealous partner. Yep, that's what it is right here. Spurned lover. So enemy, spurned lover, 1 dot. Perfect. All right, so now we can get into advantages. Merits describe advantages and gifts inherent to the character, physical, mental, and social, although something could happen in the course of play to change them, especially once weird and inexplicable magic gets unleashed. Characters' merits remain fairly constant over the course of the story. Linguistics. Every player character has a perfect fluency in their birth language, except perhaps for a charming Hungarian accent, in the dominant language of the Chronicle setting. La 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 la. Each stat in linguistics allows a character to speak fluently right in that language. Or you can have the flaw, illiterate. You cannot read or write. Academics and science skills are capped at 1, and you can have no specialty in them incorporating modern language. And looks. Not all vampires... I like this. For looks, not all vampires look like actors on the CW network. Some of them look even better. Some, of course, look far worse. Yo, Vampires Vino! Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to our stumble through in the character creation process of Vampire the Masquerade, creating our very seductive vampire bard, Luca. Excellent, excellent, love it. But they all sparkle. The storytelling rules whether these modifiers apply during social combats or on a conflict by conflict or even pool by pool basis. Alright, so we have beautiful, we've already got that taken care of, that's fine. Okay, so this is all just telling us all these things here. We've already done ours based on... I see, so just over the course of time you can gain or lose some of these things. We've already done ours based on the Siren, we got our beautiful merit, and we've got our spurned lover flaw. So now that we've got that taken care of, this has all been taken care of here. I have no idea how all the rest of these here work. Oh, this is all thin blood stuff. Yeah, I don't need any of that. Substance use, oh man. Kindred with this merit or flaw? Yikes. That sounds horrifying. Alright, so we got all that. I think we can move on to the next step here. I mean, artist. You're not wrong. But I think these are all specific depending on which bloodline you're with, because each bloodline does have specific merits and flaws that they get with them by default. Yeah, and you're not wrong. Artist and substance abuse. That could possibly make sense. Backgrounds. Backgrounds describe advantages of the relationship, circumstance, yada yada yada. So this is definitely something that's familiar with like 5e, allies and enemies. We've already got our enemy here. We hate ugly places. All enemies are rated 2 fewer dots than their effectiveness. Gifted mortal ally costs 3 dots, yada yada yada. Okay. Moral templates. Use these templates to build storyteller played characters when even quick character generation takes too much time. Okay, so this is just for creating a different touchstone character. Goodness gracious, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, missed a chunk while foes spaz, so might have missed info. Nope, honestly, at this point, I am just looking through the player guide right now, trying to figure out what my next step in this process is. It's definitely a bit of an information overload, even for me, and I have the book right in front of me. I'm trying very hard to articulate that to everyone else here so that you all can follow along with my process and figure out what it is exactly that I'm doing, but goodness gracious, it is very difficult to try to articulate some of this stuff here. Toreador don't do well in visually unappealing places. Dirty alleys, IKEA, you're not wrong. They absolutely are obsessed with the finest that life has to offer. So let's see, Haven. Like all backgrounds, the Haven's background is entirely optional. The vampire with no dots in Haven has a suicide's grave, a room in an abandoned motel, a rented office, or an apartment with windows blacked out with plastic bags. Goodness gracious. Well, I think we actually have decided that we do have a Haven. I think we've said that we have a private estate. So if that's going to be the case, it looks like for our base Haven, we have a large, secure, or private compound outside of town, bank building, decommissioned subway station, etc. So we're going to have a lovely Haven for ourselves. So where would that go? Does that go under touchstones and convictions? Let's see here. Like all backgrounds, the Haven background is entirely optional. A vampire with no dots in Haven has yada yada yada. Character with none of these other backgrounds, however, can still have a perfectly reasonable Haven as long as they have this background. Oh, I see, this is right here, so that'd be Haven. And we will put 3 there, because we've got ourselves a nice Haven. Perfect. Thank you, Vampires in Vino. Alright, so we got the Haven taken care of. That's a very large, secure, or private. Alright. Hidden Armory. Each dot in this merit adds a stand of arms. So I guess here's the thing that I'm not entirely clear on all of this, is that are these things that you just choose to have, or are there certain elements that compel you to choose some of these things? Because this is the part that I'm not quite understanding. So I guess it looks like you just choose some of these things. Because it doesn't show anywhere if you have like a pool you're supposed to pull from in terms of what you're allowed to use in terms of putting all of these things together. Aha, thank you. I couldn't find where that was listed. Your starting character gets a total of 7 dots in backgrounds, merits, and no more. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for and was having difficulty finding. Thank you so much, Vampires in Vino. Because I could not find where that was listed in this page. Alright, so we've got 3 dots in Haven, which means that we have 4 dots left to go that we can utilize. You can choose them as you like, but you only get 7 dots. So far you've chosen 5 out of 7 available dots in background. What were the other 2 from? Was that from the beautiful feat, or was that from something else? Got it. Okay. So beautiful 2, Haven 3 is 5 out of 7. Perfect. Alright, so with that in mind, I got 2 more dots to spend on something. What else can we add in on this? Fame. Mortals know your name and eagerly seek out news of your activities. You might be a movie star, a rock star, or other celebrity. Oh, goodness. That's sounding almost too troublesome, but so on brand. Fame has its downside, of course. It's harder for you to tail someone unobtrusively, for example. And who wants groupies hiking around the door to their haven all day, tagging its location on Instagram? You should look into taking disguise as a specialty. So let's see. It doesn't actually show what... Ah, here we are. You can also take the Dark Secret, a mild version of infamy. Alright. Let's see here. Number 2, you are a local celebrity recognized by the plurality of the city. That's only 2 dots. Cool, we can go with that. Let's take it. So we'll do 2 dots in fame. Boom. Alright, so there's our 7 dots for our background. Thank you so much, Vampires and Vino. Much appreciated for that. I would have been digging through forever trying to find that. And Luca doesn't need to have a herd because, you know, I feel like Velrook and Luca have a good thing going. Sorry, not Velrook, excuse me. Odette and Luca have a good thing going, working together to encourage some viable feeding targets. Yes, I was looking at the flowchart on 136, I think it was. Oh. You see, that was the thing, is that I skipped right past the very last part on that where it says advantages. Spend 7 points on advantages and take 2 points of flaws in addition to the ones gained from your predator. Alright, so, yep. Although, if that's the case, that means I actually have, because it says spend 7 points on advantages and 2 points of flaws in addition to the ones gained from your predator type. So if that's the case, does that mean that there should be 7 points total on top of what's gotten from your background, and there should be 2 total on top of what's gotten from your background? Because right now I have 1 dot from my background in terms of flaw and 2 from my background regarding merits. So if I'm reading that correctly, that should mean that I should have 2 more dots to spend on merits and 2 more dots to spend in flaws. Got it. So if that's being the case, then I actually haven't spent the full 7 yet, because the 2 that I got from Beautiful come from having the Siren Predator style. So in theory, I should have 2 more to spend somewhere. So, with that in mind, pro tip, spend your dots. All the dots. So, if that's going to be the case, influence. You have pull in the mortal community, whether through wealth, prestige, political office, blackmail, or supernatural manipulation. Kindred with high influence can sway and in rare cases even control the politics and society of their city, especially the police and city bureaucracy. Yep, now that we're working through this, you're not entirely wrong. Politics could be a thing if we play the influence thing. So we can actually put one more dot in fame, which leaves us with 1 dot left to spend. If you're a siren, you have 7 dots to spend still on backgrounds. Beautiful is the 2 dot merit you get for free with your predator type. Yes. So we've got currently Haven and Fame 2, which is 5 out of our 7. What's gift with purchase? Figured someone with your personality would need politics to take advantage of situations. You're not wrong, Viator. The only thing is I'm not sure how... Again, I'm not sure how well Luca thinks things through. So, which is the only reason why I hesitate on that. We did in fact make intelligence be his lowest trait. Because Luca is definitely very, you know, impromptu, very spur of the moment. Doesn't really think things through. So I'm not sure that he would have enough of that level of manipulation to actually have a political insight. Exactly. Politics would be more of long-term play, which is not how I think he would think. But that being said, that doesn't mean that he can't still have influence. So we could do influential, 2 dots there. People want to do me favors. And yes, we do actually have a few other people who are going to be in our upcoming campaign in this chat as well. So yes, please, Utahime, Valrook, and Stiletto Assassin, if you're still in here. If you're okay with this, Vampires and Vino, it sounds like you have a lot of insight in playing this game. If you might be able to help them with some questions that I can't quite answer, that would certainly be super appreciated. We're actually doing our 0 session this coming Wednesday, so we're all trying to get together and figure out our last minute details on everything. And yes, you got that right, Queer Venture Time. People want to do favors. I like it. So there's my 7 dots, which means I need 2 more detrimental dots. So 2 more flaws. Allie in Fable 42 plays. She might be a good resource. Really? Watched her streaming vampires several times. Alright, that's good to know. Yes, always choose the predator type first, note any free flaws and backgrounds from that, then choose 7 more backgrounds and 2 more flaws. Yep. Cool, so now that we're all on the same page regarding that, let's see. So people want to do me favors, we got all that. Ooh, hang on though. Dark Secret. You can also take Dark Secret, a milder version of Infamy. Dark Secret provides 1 fewer point than the equivalent Infamy, as your black deeds remain unknown to all but you and perhaps 1 or 2 very motivated enemies. 1 dot version of Infamy also provides 1 point as a Dark Secret because it's easier to uncover than a truly life-threatening secret. I feel like that's too contradictory for having the influential part, so maybe I can't quite work with that, because there is definitely a darker part to Luca's past, specifically regarding, well, I can't say too much or else I'm giving things away. But despised, no. Disliked, no. I don't think Luca has a herd. I think Luca just kind of mooches off of Odette's herd. Maula, no, let's see. Adversary, resources. Destitute, no. Stalkers. Stalkers could be a thing. I have a tendency to attract people who become a tad too smitten with you for your own good. A former retainer retains that memory of you and desire to reconnect. They may be hungry, love-maddened, desperate, opportunistic, or any combination or variation. Should you get rid of them, another soon appears. You know, that kind of makes sense. Maybe we have some stalkers. Definitely have some stalkers. All right, so we got 1 point in stalkers. So that's now 2 points there. So now we need 1 more. Let's see, status. I don't think we need a status. Except that now we've run out of stuff here. Let's see. You have something of a reputation and standing, earned or unearned, within a specific local community of kindred, probably the Camarilla or the Anarch. Status among Camarilla society derives as often from your sire's status and the respect due to your particular bloodline as it does from personal achievement. Ooh, this might be a thing. High status. This a status in one sect does not transfer to the other by and large. Status held in another city effectively. All right. So, what's this flaw here? Suspect. You're not good with this sect at all. You weaseled out of a boon, broke an oath, or did something similar. You can try to stay out of sight, out of mind, but unless you somehow make amends, you suffer 2 dice penalty in all social tests involving the offended faction. That's a bit extreme. That might not be something that we want to go so far to, but I kind of like it. Influence 2, fame 2, Haven 3. Yes, so we got the 7 dots of backgrounds, but we still need more for, we need 1 more for flaws though, if I'm understanding correctly. Hey Ferrix, welcome to the chat. So this is Luca, who is the vampire that I'm going to be playing for a Vampire the Masquerade one-shot that we are going to be doing offline this coming Wednesday. There's a possibility that there may be a stream session of it sometime in the next month or so, but right now we're doing our session 0 to try things out and see how things go. Luca is a very... What's a good way to describe him, chat? He very much is into everything: music, passion, love, hedonism, food, sex, wine. I mean, basically, if he hasn't tried it yet, he's going to want to. And I believe the wine analogy from Schitt's Creek was the best analysis that defines what, you know, what his tastes are like. Is that coffee in that mug? Maybe. Of course it is. It's always coffee o'clock. So destitute, no. We need to find 1 more flaw. 1 more good flaw. Mid-afternoon coffee, I approve. You know, there's no other way. You gotta have that mid-afternoon coffee. How else do you get through the rest of the afternoon? So we have a Haven, I can't do no Haven. Can't say disliked. Ooh, here we go. Fame. Here's a 1 flaw. You owe a big debt to bad people or have made yourself generally odious. Alternatively, your spouse, lover, or close family member has infamy. I like that you owe a big debt. All right, we'll add 1 debt. Boom. And I will have to figure out how to work that into the backstory, but I think that makes sense, and that covers our background's merits and flaws. That's true, that is kind of contradictory, isn't it? So that doesn't quite work. Maybe I owe a favor. Maybe it's not dead to bad people. Maybe I've wronged someone else. That's true, the debt can be something other than money. I owe favors. Which is kind of an interesting dynamic, because people want to do me favors, and yet I also owe favors. That creates all kinds of webs and twists and turns. Oh, that could be interesting. Selling influence, I see. That could create some fun things to play with. All right. Welcome to the vampire economy. Oh yes, we have the water mug, and we have the coffee mug. Always got to make sure there's a balance of both. You know, on a good day, I can have anywhere between 2 to 3 mugs in front of me. I consume a lot of liquid. Not unlike the character that I'm creating right now. Currently, no. However, at any other point in time, yes, there could be. You're not wrong, Luke. You're not wrong. So we have the coterie and the domain, which I think we already have. So what am I missing now? I've got all my skills worked out. I've got all my attributes worked out. We've got all this stuff worked out. We have our discipline marked here. I'll have to work on the touchstones and convictions offline at some point. There's only 2 pages. It's 2 pages, but there's a lot of detail on these 2 pages. Well, I guess here we are here. So let's go, let's see, true age. So date of birth. So let's start with apparent age. Apparent age, we'll say that he appears to be 22. So he appears 22. He was born in the 1700s. I think that when I wrote the backstory, I was saying something along the lines of 1750. So let's say, you know what? Just for giggles, we're gonna make him a Pisces, because why not? Oh, there we go. 14th of April, 1743. I love it. Perfect. And date of death would have been... Oh, how cruel would that have been for his date of death to have been on his birthday. We're doing it. So if we're going into 2020, now I gotta do math. What's 2020 minus 1765? $255. Yeah, it was a big day. It was definitely a big day, you know? Celebrate the birthday, losing his virginity, getting killed by a vampire. I mean, yeah. So we're actually working out the timeline in this campaign a little bit differently. So we're still mechanically working it out so that all of us are still technically 13th generation vampires, but we're doing it for flavor purposes that some of us are going to be older. So technically, according to the book, yes, you are correct. He would be an elder vampire, but we're working it so that just to balance everyone else out mechanics wise, that we're all going to be 13th generation. Plus, you know, he's a bit of a, bit of a miscreant, a bit of a freeloader and all that. So let's just say that he hasn't done much with his life in the last, 255 years to earn any of these additional skills and such that you would normally get from having this many years of age. So maybe he's gained some experience per se, but not necessarily the skill sets. So this is why, even though he's so much older, yeah, right? What a lazy bum layabout. All right. But I think we have enough of a solid starting point here to be able to go from here. We're actually running up on time right now. It's actually time for me to start closing up shop here so that I can start getting ready for the next thing. Let's see. Oh, that's right. Fable 42 is actually doing their next episode of Quests and Answers right now, so we're gonna go ahead and throw them a raid right now. Oh my goodness gracious, here comes Sean, aka GiveTTV, with the resub. Thank you so much, buddy. Give a big shout out to Sean over at GiveTTV. Awesome guy. He does some streaming on a regular basis as well. But in the meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and throw a raid over to Fable 42 as we wrap things up here. They're doing quests and answers. Send them some love over that way. Love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out for a low-key afternoon here. It's been fun. I'm looking forward to having some fun times as a vampire. I'm very excited to bring this character to light. Very ambitious, beyond what I've normally done. So thank you everyone for hanging out. Thanks for a fun afternoon, and thank you for letting me be your discount bard. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you hit that follow button, and I will see you all next time. Lots of great stuff coming up this week. Catch you all later.
Dealing with all of this stuff, so I don't want to say too much about it, but that's how I create my Pantheon. Timelines and lore